Yo, good morning. Good morning, like really good morning. Um, as you guys could tell, I forgot my book on Mother's Day weekend, so today, hopefully, I can make up for Saturday and Sunday, as though those are the days that I missed. We're actually a couple pages out from finishing this book, and I'm not entirely sure if most of these pages are worth reading, so I'm gonna read most of it, see what I can get down, and we can go from there. If not, I'll purchase a new book so we can start that book as well. But without further ado, let's finish out the last chapter, which is chapter 16, The Devil's Workshop, the seventh basic evil. In addition to the six basic fears, there is another evil by which people suffer. It constitutes a rich soil in which the seeds of failure grow abundantly. It is so subtle that it presents is often not detected. This affliction cannot properly be classed as a fear. It is more deeply seated and more often fatal than all of the six fears. For want of a better name, let us call this evil susceptibility to negative influences. People who accumulate great riches always protect themselves against the evil. This poverty strike they never do. Those who succeed in any calling must prepare their minds to resist the evil. If you are reading this philosophy for the purpose of accumulating riches, you should examine yourself very carefully to determine whether you are susceptible to negative influences. If you neglect this self-analysis, you will forfeit your right to attain the object of your desires. Make the analysis searching. After you read the questions prepared for this self-analysis, hold yourself to strict account in your answers. Go at the task as carefully as you would search for any other enemy you knew to be waiting to ambush you, and do with your own faults as you would a more tangible enemy. You can easily protect yourself against highway robbers because the law provides organized cooperation for your benefit, but the seventh basic evil is more difficult to master. It strikes when you are not aware of its presence, when you are asleep, and while you are awake. Moreover, its weapon is tangible because it consists of merely a state of mind. This evil is also dangerous because it strikes in as many different forms as there are human experiences. Sometimes it enters the mind through the well-met words of one's own relatives. At other times, it bores from within through one's own mental attitude. Always, it is as deeply as poison, even though it may not kill as quickly. How to protect yourself against negative influences. To protect yourself against negative influences, whether of your own making or the result of the activities of negative people around you, recognize you have a willpower. Put it into constant use until it builds a wall of immunity against negative influences in your own mind. Recognize the fact that you are and every other human are by name lazy, indifferent, and susceptible to all suggestions that harmonize with your weaknesses. Recognize that you are by nature susceptible to all six basic fears. Set up habits for the purpose of counteracting all these fears. Recognize that negative influences often work on you through your subconscious mind and are therefore difficult to detect. Keep your mind closed against all people who depress or discourage you in any way. Deliberately seek the company of people who influence you to think and act for yourself. Do not accept troubles, as they have a tendency not to disappoint. Without doubt, the most common weakness of all human beings is the habit of leaving their minds open to the negative influence of other people. This weakness is all the more damaging because most people do not recognize that they are cursed by it, and many who acknowledge it neglect or refuse to correct the evil until it becomes an uncomfortable part of their daily habits. To aid those who wish to see themselves as really as they really are, the following list of questions have been prepared. Read the questions and state your answers aloud so you can hear your own voice. This will make it easier for you to be truthful with yourself. I'll only read a couple, just so we can, there's a lot of questions. I don't know if you really want me to read all the questions and answer them, but here are just a couple, just to go through them. Self-analysis test questions. Do you complain often of feeling bad? If so, what is the cause? Do you find fault with other people at the slightest provocation? Do you frequently make mistakes in your work? If so, why? Are you sarcastic and offensive in your conversation? Do you deliberately avoid the association of anyone? If so, why? Do you suffer frequently with indigestion? If so, what is the cause? Do you like your occupation? If not, why? Does anyone nag you? If so, for what reason? Do you have a defined major purpose? And if so, what it is and what plan have you for achieving it? Has today added anything of value to your stock of knowledge or state of mind? Can you name 3 of your most damaging weaknesses? What are you doing to correct them? Do you encourage other people to bring their worries to you for sympathy? Does your religion help you to keep your own mind positive? If you believe that birds of a feather flock together, what have you learned about yourself by studying the friends you attract? Could it be possible that some person you consider to be friends is, in reality, your worst enemy because of their negative influence on your mind? How much time out of every 24 hours do you devote to your occupation, sleep, play, and relaxation? Acquiring useful knowledge, plain waste. Who among your acquaintances encourages you most, cautions you most, discourages you most, helps you most in other ways? When others offer you free, unsolicited advice, do you accept it without question or analyze their motive? Do you change your mind often? If so, why? Do you finally finish everything you begin? Are you easily influenced by what other people think or you say of? How much time have you devoted to studying and answering these questions? At least one day is necessary for analyzing and answering the entire list. If you have answered all these questions truthfully, you know more about yourself than the majority of people. Study the questions carefully, come back to them once each week for several months. You will be astounded at the amount of valuable additional knowledge you will have gained by the simple methods of answering the questions truthfully. If you are not certain of the answers to some of the questions, seek the counsel of those who know you well, especially those who have no motive in flattering you, and see yourself through their eyes. You have absolute control over by but one thing, and that is your thoughts. This is most significant and inspiring of all known facts. It reflects our divine nature. This divine prerogative is the sole means by which you may control your own destiny. If you fail to control your own mind, you may be sure you will control nothing else. If you must be careless with your possessions, let it be in connection with material things. Your mind is your spiritual estate. Protect and use it with the care to which divine royalty is entitled. You were given a willpower for this purpose. Unfortunately, there is no legal protection against those who, either by design or ignorance, poison the minds of others by negative suggestion. This form of destruction should be unpunishable by heavy legal penalties because it may and often does destroy one's chances of acquiring material things that are protected by law. People with negative minds tried to convince Thomas A. Edison that he would not build a machine that would reproduce the human voice because they said no one else has ever produce such a machine. Edison did not believe them. He knew that the mind could produce anything the mind could conceive and believe, and that knowledge was the thing that lifted him above the common herd. Men with negative minds told F.W. Woolworth he would go broke trying to run a store on 5 and 10 cent sales. He did not believe them. He knew he could do anything within reason if he backed his plans with faith. Exercising his right to keep other men's negative suggestions out of his mind, he piled up a fortune of more than $100 million. Men with negative minds told George Washington he would not hope to win against the vastly superior forces of the British, but he exercised his divine right to believe. Undoubtedly, Thomas's scuffled score-filling when Henry Ford tried out his first crudely built automotive on the streets of Detroit. Some said the thing would never come practical. Others said no one would pay money for such a contraption. Ford said, I'll belt the earth with dependable motor cars, and he did. His decision to trust his own judgment piled up a fortune far greater than the next 5 generations of his descendants could squander. Henry Ford has been repeatedly mentioned because he is an astounding example of what someone with a mind of their own, a will to control, can accomplish. His record knocks his foundation from under that time-worn alibi. I never had a chance. Ford never had a chance either, but he created an opportunity and backed it with persistence until it made him richer than Croesus. Mind control is a result of self-discipline and habit. You either control your mind or it controls you. There is no halfway compromise. The most practical methods for controlling the mind is the habit of keeping it busy with a defined purpose, backed by a defined plan. Study the record of people who have achieved noteworthy success, and you will observe that they have control over their own minds. Moreover, that they exercise that control and direct it toward the attainment of defined objectives. Without this control, success is not possible. I'll take a pause there. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I feel like I have, but one of the greatest things that have changed my life is being able to reflect on amongst myself and look myself in the mirror and ask very valuable questions that should lead to valuable truths and answers. And I think this book, this reading that we just discovered about all these different questions to get to the truth or to get to the bottom of who we are as a person, that can then be improved on, or that can then lead us to great success. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't go through all the questions, but I feel like you guys can get a gist of what they're asking. So yeah, I'll see you guys later today. Hopefully I can squeeze 2 in, matter of fact. But yeah, see ya.